Hello friends, myself Dhanashri Ravindra Bankar. Welcome to the first video of my .NET Framework tutorial series. In this series, I will be introducing you to the .NET Framework with C# programming language. This series is designed for both beginners as well as intermediate learners. So whether you new to the .NET or looking to expand your skill, you will be find valuable insight from this series. In the today's video, we will start with the introduction part. What is exactly .NET Framework is, why it is used, and what are the major components that .NET Framework has. After that, we will be deep dive into the object-oriented concept, that is OOPS concept, and then we will be looking into the C# fundamentals, fundamental parts. By the end of this series, you will have solid understanding of how to work with the .NET Framework using the C# programming language and how to create robust application using .NET Framework with C# programming language. So let's get started. So the first part is introduction to .NET Framework. In this part, we will see what .NET Framework is exactly. The .NET Framework is the software development platform created and provided by the Microsoft. The first beta version of .NET Framework, which were released in the 2002 by the Microsoft, and it provides the functionality, or it provides a way to the developers to create software which are only executed or run on the Windows operating system. Whatever the software applications we were built using the .NET framework, that applications will be running on only Windows operating system. And also we can create web application, Windows based application, desktop based application, as well as mobile application using the .NET framework. It also provides a broad range of functionalities and support. .NET framework supports more than 60 programming languages. It includes C Sharp, F Sharp, VB.NET, J Sharp, VC++, JScript, and much more. C Sharp is one of the language from the .NET framework supported language. So we will be looking into the C Sharp fundamentals in the later videos of this series. Uh, the first beta version is released in 2002, but in the latter part, Microsoft has shifted towards the .NET Core and .NET 5 Plus version. In the .NET Core, they rewrite this framework from the scratch and add the cross-platform support. Means when we create any application using the .NET Core framework, this application will be execute or run on multiple Windows platform. Like it will be run on Windows system, it will be run on Mac OS, and it also run on the Linux operating system. So it provides a cross-platform support which is not provided by the earlier .NET framework. This is the overview of what is .NET exactly. The main purpose of .NET, it is used to create the software applications which are run on Windows, Mac, Linux OS. It is also allow us to create desktop based application as well as Windows based application. Okay, the next part is components of .NET framework. There are four main components of .NET framework. First one is common language runtime, that is CLR. The second one is framework class library, FCL. The core language and other modules, which contains sub components also. In the core languages, we have WinForms, ASP.NET and ADO.NET, and in other modules we have WCF, WPF, WF, card space, link, and entity framework. In the today's session, we will covering the CLR and FCL, and the remaining component will be looking into the next part. Then now we will see what is CLR. CLR stand for Common Language Runtime. It is a program execution engine that loads and executes the program. It acts as the interface between the .NET framework and the operating system. When we write any program, it will be present in the .NET framework itself. But in order to execute that program, the .NET framework needs to communicate with the operating system. So that communication will be done by the CLR. It provides or it acts as an interface between the .NET framework and the operating system. It can convert the program into native code. When we write any program into the .NET framework, because of .NET framework supports 60 plus programming language, we can write the program in any one of these language. Suppose I write the program here in C# language. The code which I written in C# language is called as source code. This source code is not understandable by .NET framework. Hence, we need to translate this code or convert this code into the understandable format. So this process is done in two steps. In the first step, the .NET language compiler takes the source code and convert the source code into the IL code. IL stands for intermediate language code, intermediate level code or intermediate language code. This intermediate language code is independent on the platform. If we write the program in C#, it will be converted into the IL code. If we write the program into F#, it will also convert into the IL code. And this IL code will be run on any platform like Windows, Linux, Mac OS. Hence, this IL code is platform independent. In the next step, the JIT compiler, which is provided by the CLR itself, the JIT compiler takes that IL code and convert that IL code into the native code. Native code is the code which is machine specific. In what system the code is executed, according to the infrastructure of that system, the machine specific code is generated. And that machine specific code is native code. This conversion is done by JIT compiler, and JIT compiler is provided by the CLR. The IL code is stored in .dll or .exe file. We can see that DLL or .exe files inside our project folder. Okay. JIT stands for just in time compiler. It can translate IL code into the native code. The compilation process takes place in two steps. First, the .NET language compiler takes the source code. The source code is the code which is written in programming language. The programming language will be anything which is supported by the .NET framework. Suppose we take it as a C#. The code which is written in C# is the source code. This code is taken by the .NET language compiler. The .NET language compiler convert that source code into the IL code, that is intermediate language code. This IL code will be stored in .dll or .exe file. Then this IL code will be converted into the native code by the JIT compiler. JIT is just-in-time compiler which is provided by the CLR. And what is native code? Native code is a machine-specific code. On which system our code is executed, according to its infrastructure, the machine-specific code is generated. Okay. So, except of this, CLR does many more things, like it does exception handling, memory management, and garbage collection. It also provides security, type safety, interoperability, and portability. We can see each and every term of these in our latter part of videos. What is memory management? When we write any program, when we create any object, the object needs some memory from the computer. The object store in some location. It allocates the memory. But after some time, the task of that object is completed, and I don't want that object any longer. So at that time, the garbage collector will delete that unused object and free up the memory space. This is automatically done by the garbage collector, and this is also called as automatic memory management. When the object is no longer in use, the garbage collector will delete that object and reclaim the memory. And garbage collector is also provided by the CLR. The next is FCL. FCL stands for Framework Class Library. The Framework Class Library is a complete set of classes, interfaces, and value types. The .NET Framework provides a set of classes, interface, and value types which will be required by each and every developer while doing the application development. That set of classes and interfaces which will be provided by the FCL, that is Framework Class Library. It is a large collection of reusable classes, methods, and types that allow developers to perform wide range of programming tasks like input output, file input output, data access, networking, security, etc. So when we there are certain operations like file input output, we do not need to write same code again and again. When we use file input output, there are already defined the functionality in the FCL. We need to take that objects as it is and reuse in our code. So it will reduce the developer effort and it will make more code reusability. Okay, the next part is BCL. What exactly the BCL is? The BCL is primarily the subset of FCL. It contains the most fundamental and essential classes and types needed for basic programming tasks which are common to most .NET applications. So the BCL is the subset of FCL and it can provide us more fundamental and essential classes and types needed for the basic programming tasks which are common to the most .NET frameworks. It can provide primitive data types, collection, file and input output operation, console input and output, date and time object, exception handling, etc. What is primitive data type? So primitive data type is the data type which we use in our application development like int, float, boolean, string. These are the primitive data types and these primitive data types will be provided by the BCL. Also the collection classes, file input output, console input output, date time object and exception handling objects or exception handling classes will be provided by the BCL. What is it exactly, how we are using it, we can see in the later videos. Okay, the BCL serves as the fundamental library that every .NET application relies on, whether it's a console application, web application or mobile application. So the BCL serves fundamental library to each and every .NET application. It is also provided for console application, web application or mobile application. Okay, so in the today's session, we will cover the introduction part of the .NET framework. In that we see what the .NET framework is exactly, why we use that, and in the next part we see the major component of the .NET framework. In that we will see the CLR, that is Common Language Runtime, FCL, BCL, garbage collector, and how the compilation process takes place, in the .NET framework. So that's it for the today's lecture. uh, we will look into the features and the installation process in the next video series. Okay, so thanks for watching. Have a good day.